Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the tier 10 Japanese carrier Hakuryu. This is a match on I don't know what map this is. Oh, it's called Warrior's Path. It's domination mode. There aren't that many tier 10 ships in this match. There are carriers and stuff, and I think both teams have a tier 10 battleship, and there is also some gearings. Anyways, I launched my planes in the same order: torpedo bombers first, fighters second, dive bombers third. My teammate asked me to bring my fighters over to B. I told him that it's not very likely, but I mean, since I'm going with my torpedo bombers there anyway, I might as well. So I'm gonna try dropping on this gearing, but I think I messed up. I kinda hurried because I figured those, fighters would come around. They did, and unfortunately I can't really drop properly. Like, I can't put enough effort into the drop that I would really like to do, because I have to deal with the fighters. Fortunately, I managed to strafe the first fighter group with my fighters, so I got kind of an advantage, and I attacked the second one as well. Sadly though, because there are 3 enemy destroyers around, that anti-air does do something, so I might not necessarily win. Like, look at this. That one fighter squadron that strafed down 2 of them died without shooting down a single other fighter. But on the bright side, this does let me try my drops on these torpedo bombers quite a bit more. I was thinking of doing the drop on that one Fubuki, but it seems that it's not as necessary because that one... to do a coordinated drop, because that one strike was enough. So I'll try to use my third one on this Fubuki, but... oh my god, planes, I didn't even notice them. Okay, use defensive fire. This is actually bad. If I had noticed them earlier, I could have saved this Izumo a ton of HP. Sadly, I didn't. It's okay though. My third drop on the second Fubuki also missed, but I killed one of them, so it's good enough, I think. I guess I'll just use my dive bombers to manual drop on the enemy gearing. Maybe it'll work out. It's very unlikely, but maybe. So, after this, it's reloading the planes. I would really like it if my torpedo bombers all landed, then I would launch the fighters or the torpedo bombers together. The idea is to just not get them separated. Sadly, there's something I didn't notice while playing. Look at that one torpedo bomber group that's over here. I didn't quite realize that I had actually launched and pulled this one this far. But, on the bright side though, it is next to the Fubuki, who is in a pretty poor position and there are no enemy fighters around. I should also start launching my fighters in a moment, but I think I'm a bit too busy with this stuff. I corrected the torpedo bomber drop, and I think this is actually it for the Fubuki. I think she's gone now. Yep, goodbye. So, 4 torpedo bomber drops total, and I've killed 2 Fubukis. That's a very good result. This does mean that one of my torpedo bombers is recycling while the other 2 aren't, which is something I kind of wanted to avoid, but I guess it's okay. So, about carriers. It's interesting that actually if you want to win a game, you really want to just go kill the DDs first, early on, and then you are very, very likely to win the game. Just because battleships often tend to not cap, and if you have like 1 DD left, that guy just goes around and caps everything, and you win the game. But truthfully, I kinda don't want to win very quickly, because that's just not a very enjoyable game. So I'm not gonna try finishing off the other DDs. Yes, it's a bit playing with fire, but I really wish the game would like reward you for a quick game like it does for a longer one. So I'm gonna drop on this Iowa instead of the Benson, or the gearing. I think the gearing could be a pretty easy kill actually, right now. But I'll try doing it on the battleships instead. To make the game last a bit longer. Or at least not make the game such an assured match. Like, the issue that many battles have is that the enemy teams clump up, and they just never unclump, they just stay that way, even if they're behind and they would need to do something different. Like I said in chat, that this DD hunting is killing my stats. The reason is that many of the sites measure things like damage done. But damage done isn't a really good metric to measure whether somebody's actually doing well or poorly. Because hitting a battleship does way more damage done than hitting a DD. Even though in terms of experience, hitting the DD is a much better idea if you kill it, compared to doing some damage to the battleship. But stat-wise, most of the sites tend to measure damage done numbers above things like, well, experience, or winning the game. Anyways, I noticed that I sent the fighters over here because I noticed earlier that this Iowa was alone, forgot to mention this. And I figured that the enemy would come strike this guy, and he did with the dive bombers, so I strafed all of them down. I don't think any of them managed to get drop in. Although at this point I kinda neglect it, because I tried doing my dive bomber drops. I want to drop this Iowa for fire. If you look at the minimap, you will notice that the enemy fighters are going around the Iowa, and I'm not, acting appropriately for it. Unfortunately, there isn't all that much I can do about it, because, well, I'm not just paying attention, and I notice it only now. But, well, the silver lining is that it is next to an Iowa, which tends to have fairly strong anti-air, and he only caught one of my fighters, so I should be able to pick off at least an equivalent amount. So the Iowa was set on fire. I want to do a follow-up, but it turns out that I didn't notice that the Iowa didn't actually use his damage control party earlier. So I went in now, which, he used the damage control party now. You could see earlier the flame a bit. So I had to pull back again to get the fire going. And this meant that, well, he shot down 4 planes. Maybe it'll work now, hopefully. Come on, please, stick the fire on it. Okay, well, I think the fire stuck, but it's only one fire. I guess I'll try taking my torpedo bombers to the Yamagi, because I don't want to strike the battleships next to the cruiser, especially because one of them is a Yamato. So I'll try striking the Yamagi that's behind, or maybe finish off the Iowa. I think the Yamagi is a better idea. Let somebody else deal with Iowa and finish them. But it seems this Wilhelm Müller guy isn't quite born yesterday, so he turns away. By the way, this is one of the rare situations where you would want to turn away from the torpedo bombers, because notice how he managed to turn away completely before I actually got even to his ship. While this does increase the drop, it does increase the amount of time my planes had to be in the anti-air. Like, look at this, that's 2 Amagis, and they killed an entire squadron. And even then, I had to drop quickly, because if I hadn't looked, 2 more planes had died. So if I had tried to reposition even more, I would have lost another 2 planes. So I had to drop quickly there. But yeah, this is one of the rare situations where you would want to turn away from the planes. Because it increases the amount of time the CV has to have their planes in your anti-air. And I mean, remember, those are tier 8 battleships, and not ones that are known for strong anti-air against tier 10 planes. So shooting down 4 planes before they dropped is actually pretty massive. Especially because one of the Amagis wasn't even that close. Okay, actually they were for some of the time. So now I want to bring my dive bombers to finish up the drop that I did earlier on the Amagi, but it seems the enemy fighters have come around. I will have my fighters patrol around my Yamato, because I think that due to the Yamato's positioning, the next drop by the enemy CV is very likely to be on the Yamato if I don't have my planes around. I tried to strafe the enemy fighters down, and I get incredible success with this. Yes, I lost some dive bombers, but I got incredible success from this strafe. I shot down like 6 fighters. And now that I locked at least one of them, I'm gonna strafe down the other one. Unfortunately, well, one of them left, so I ended up strafing down more friendly fighters than enemy ones, but I guess it's not that bad, because I still took out more than they took out of mine. Like, I took out 8 of his planes, and he took out 5 of mine. Well, actually, I took out like 3 of them, so... Still though, at this point, look, the Gearing is still alive. I really should kill him. That would help us a lot. Probably if I had killed the Gearing earlier, we would already have B for a long time, and we would already be winning the game really hard. But instead, I'm playing around with these battleships. Let's try to set this... Oh my god. No, this float plane. Go away. Have to run away because of the float plane. And I guess because there's only 3 dive bombers on this squadron left, I would have to... Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's go for the Yamato instead. Set this guy on fire and then do a follow-up with my other dive bombers and torpedo bombers. Because why not? This guy is alone here now. Okay, excellent. 2 fires. So, he's probably going to use his Damacon here. At least I think it would be likely. And I guess I'll then just follow up with my dive bombers and torpedo bombers. It's only 5. Oh, he's on fire. Did he not Damacon that one? I hope he did. Or that he doesn't have it available. Because I kind of want to get dot going, because even if I do like a perfect strike, a 60,000 HP Yamato is not going to die to this. Actually, a perfect strike might be able to. But, I mean... I'm not good enough for perfect strikes. I just can't get perfect strikes going. It's very rare. The enemy has to do things exactly to help it along. Like, look at this. That last one went... Why, completely missed. I guess if I had hit, those would have finished it off. Now the important thing is actually that somebody actually finishes the Yamato off. It seems the Yamato doesn't have Damacon after all, so that's good. So the dot should expire here. Very good. Because the issue with Yamatos is that if you don't finish them off, they have this nasty habit of coming back to like 50,000 HP or something from like almost dead. Because of the massive heals, so... it's kinda important to finish them off, but at this point it's only 3 enemy ships left, the Hakuryu, 2 battleships, and well, that's it actually. The enemy also doesn't probably have any or almost any fighters left. Try to intercept this. Excellent. That went well, which is glad. Wow, the Sayo is still alive. That's very surprising. I'm gonna use this one fighter squadron to interrupt the drop of this torpedo bomb. Oh, enemy fighters. I guess I'll try to bait them with my number 2 and then try to strafe with number 3. It's okay if I shoot friendlies down there. Okay, well, I did get the friendly, but this should be good enough. Oh, I'm out of ammo. That's actually bad, but it's next to a ruin, so... These enemy fighters are gone, I should still have 4 planes left. Which is excellent. So there's 2 battleships and 1 carrier left. Carrier isn't really a target because of a defensive fire on carriers, so it's just the battleships. There is one tricky point though. We still don't have second cap, so they are technically still gaining on us in points. But I think that's going to be rectified very soon. It's a tier 8 and tier 9 battleship. I don't think the Iowa is anti-air spec, so dropping on the Iowa shouldn't be a problem. I would still like to drop on Yamagi instead and leave the Iowa for the friendlies, because there are many friendlies nearby, so they are likely to do so. Okay, I got a fire going on Yamagi, so I should be able to dot stack her. And the enemy carrier doesn't have any fighters anymore, which means that he's not going to be able to interrupt this drop. So I've done already 170,000 damage. Because I hunted battleships instead of DDs. I had 2 kills in DDs, I had 20,000 damage done. Now I have 3 kills total and I am at 170,000 damage done. So yeah. Actually it would be great if I could use the torpedo bombers to finish off the Iowa, but maybe she's a bit too low HP. Should check that in a moment once this drop is done. Got this in before the float plane interrupted as well, that's very good. Oh, the Iowa is dead, never mind. These torpedo bombers are for Mr. Wilhelm Müller, who apparently is pretty good at dodging things, but only has 20,000 HP and I have all the time in the world to maneuver because there are no friendlies around to help him avoid things. Probably more than half of his anti-air is already dead and well, there are no fighters that might come interrupting at some point. Not to mention I only need some hits, like 3 torpedo hits? Wait, no, actually Amagi has incredible TDS, so maybe 4. 1, 2, no, 3 is enough. No, actually no, it wasn't enough, I needed the 4th one. And she was only 16,000 HP and I still needed 4 hits. Anyways, game's over. 581,000 credits, 7,100 experience, a devastating strike, high caliber, 195,288 damage. Very good result. 2,505. Oh, I got 4 kills actually. Damn. That was very close to a Kraken then. That Kagara played well. Kinda necessary. I could have played a lot better, but look at this. 37 plane shot down. The enemy Hakuryu is 18. Like, this is actually something that I don't mind about the mirror matchmaking. Because, honestly, most of the time I run into carrier players that are either a tiny bit worse than me or a lot worse than me. It's very rare that somebody is as good as me or better. I mean, this might not sound like a humble thing to say, but it's true, and just tiptoeing around the fact doesn't really change anything, and this just means that many of the Hakuryu games are very relaxed for me. Not always though, because sometimes you just have bad luck with team compositions, or just bad luck with like a Yamato shells you from 25 kilometers and well, kills you. Anyways, time for the skills, obviously premium consumables, both of them. And then air groups modification 1, air groups for the strong damage, air groups modification 2 for stronger fighter HP, air groups modification 3 for stronger strike planes, damage control. You want less fires essentially from the other modules, and concealment because there is none of the other ones matter. Skills, basics of survivability, torpedo armament expertise, torpedo acceleration, manual fire control for AA, air supremacy, and then I got basic firing training and fire prevention. The reason manual AA is only useful on the Hakuryu in my opinion. You could get air servicing expert, which is the other tier 4 skill as well. That would also be good. But I just like manual fire control a bit more because it defends the carrier a little bit better. So anyways, at this point I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon who keep the channel running. Well, not entirely, but they do help a lot. So, Akatak and Tab Extra, Seboy Mosa, Ultra Real, Martin Wolf, Jacob Klink, Daniel Pequin, Activo2, Voguyen, Captain Remius, Yalara, and Icarus. Thank you for your support, and if you guys enjoyed this video, then I hope you'll watch the next one as well.